Hey folks, how's it going? Welcome to May I Take Your Order? Seems like it's gonna be a little interesting. I think it's a visual novel, a shorter one, I think. Hope you guys doing well. Let's just get straight into it. Alright, I've been filling out a few applications today, and this is the last one. I've been applying to work at restaurants all over. It might not seem glamorous, but I want to see how different places are run. If I want to open my own restaurant someday, it's crucial to see what does and doesn't work. Move my mouse. A friend told me I should save my top pick for last, and I should really kick him for that. My hand's about to fall off. It's a pretty ritzy establishment, but comfortable. Fancy, but not overpriced. Important clientele, but still kind of inclusive. If you can't make connections here, you're dead. Financially speaking. And the food? Remarkable. I've never heard of anyone ever having a bad meal there. I've gotten to know how they accomplish so much. So I try not to be too nervous and fill this out like it's any other application. My first name is Des. There we go. Des. I fill in my address and try not to despair over my handwriting before getting to the personal section. Gender is... I'm female. And I finished filling out the form. I cap the pen and lean back in my chair. Man, it's nice to be done. Well, except for heading outside and turning them all in, one at a time. Better get to it. Ooh, fancy. 2 weeks later and I'm waist deep in my first Saturday shift at the restaurant. Ooh, did I get my last pick? Busy doesn't even begin to describe it. After 7 hours of the weekend rush, I'm ready to go home. Oh, I stop off at table 6 and go through the motions. Thank you for dining with us, sir. My name is Des and I'll be your server this evening. He smiles at me. Pleasure to meet you, Miss Des. Have you dined with us before, sir? Yes, indeed. I'm quite happy to be back. Just you this evening, sir? No, my girlfriend will be here shortly. I'll just have a cup of coffee while I wait for her. I'll go get that for you right away then. No rush. Alright. Countless families and couples have come and gone today, but for the past hour, that one guy's been clogging up table 6. Are you doing alright, sir? He checks his watch again. Aw, stood up guy. Yes, I mistook the time. She'll be here any second. He's been saying that for the past 45 minutes. I tell him to pack it up and leave, but he doesn't have the look I'd expect of someone in this position. There's anxiety, but only a little bit, and there's no disappointment. Not a shred of doubt in his eyes. He really thinks... excuse me. He looks up at me. It seems he's come out of some sort of decision. Thank goodness. But this is a restaurant with crayons, correct? Yes, sir. We have those for kids. Excellent. A sting of ferocity enters his eyes, one that doesn't quite pair naturally with crayons. 1, please. And red if you got it. Yeah, sure. I'm not about to argue with the customer, so I head to the front. It's not exactly unusual, but the guy's been sitting there for half an hour with no phone. I'm caught between pity and irritation, and hope for the umpteenth time that he has enough empathy to tip well on the single cup of coffee he's been nursing. I don't think I could nurse a cup of anything for half an hour or 45 minutes or so. There's a small tin with several crayons. We try to keep fresh ones ready. I grab a red crayon. I snatch up the red crayon. No sense being mean to him. He may be weird, but he's probably having a bad night too. I bring the crayon back over to him and hand it over. Thank you, Miss Des. It's no big deal. Hey, are you okay? I saw you didn't have a cell phone, but we could call your girlfriend and... No warning, no nothing. He knocks everything off the table and climbs right on. What? Sir, please get down. His deft hand scrawls a wide circle, then another, then sections off areas, slicing as though the crayons were a knife. He fills it with symbols. They look almost like zodiac signs. I can't even pronounce what he's doing, but you guys see it? Great. It's like I stood up too fast. There's a rushing to my head. There's a pressure like my ears are going to pop. Ooh, that's not good. You broke my dialogue box. Oh, crap. Ah! The tablecloth rips and there's a spray of sweet-smelling fluid. I leap away from the table as something bursts out. Oh, hell. Would you like a cup of coffee? Wet, spiked appendages are flailing all over, slapping and snaking their way over the windows and doors. They're fleshy but soft, too soft, and they mush and disfigure as they slam against everything in sight. One smacks the hat off another diner, who continues to eat her meal, unfazed. Nobody is screaming, and nobody notices me on the ground, arms raised to protect my face and throat too tight to scream again. But that's okay. The thing is screaming enough for the entire restaurant. It's letting out a dual-tone screech, high and low, but I can't discern one throat, let alone two. Crayon thrown to the floor, the stood-up guy in worst diner ever starts to call out to it. At it. Sweetie! For goodness sake, put your body on. We're in a nice restaurant. It screeches and roars back at him. I know, but... He waves a bundle of cloth at it. I brought you some clothing. And it's super comfy. It slurps up the bundle of fabric and the creature bubbles and draws back in on itself, twisting until... I emerge. You're here. You had me worried, so I figured I'd help break the barrier down a bit. Telepora, you have no idea how good it is to see you. I have no idea if that's her name, but we know I can pronounce names. When he says that word, my ears finally pop and my teeth grit. It's a bad word. It's not a curse word per se, not so much a word you wouldn't say in front of your boss. It feels like the wrong answer in a classroom or meeting. That moment when everyone turns and looks at you, and you just want to sink through the floor. I just want to sink through the floor. I want to very quietly go get my coat and change my name and move to whatever town is on the exact opposite point on the globe for where I'm currently standing. You informed me that the barrier was to be frail in this portion of your world. I will hold you responsible for the trouble. Hold you responsible. He's beaming at the thing that came out of the hole, but I can't look at it. It hurts to roll my eyeballs towards it like I'm dehydrated. When I close my eyes, the dark behind my eyelids is so cool and so soft. Huh. There are tears running down my cheeks. I hadn't noticed. The guy, Hendrik, beams and gestures towards the gaggle of eyes and puffy wool. This is my girlfriend, Telepora. Impudent microbe. I may choose to craft for myself the form of a creator, a birthing one, but I am capable of far greater creations than your prepubescent females. And far more enormous your inflated ego thinks I would reign to refer to you as any form of champion. Why are you being so freaking... Are you being mean to me? Is this against... What the hell did I do to you? Her words wash over him like a gentle breeze. She's insulting the hell out of him. It looks like she could rip his face off, but her roars just make his eyes brim with joy. We've been dating for about 400 years now, and though the long-distance thing is an easy bit of annoyance, we make it work. The moment I finally devise an effective method of accomplishing your demise, I will rip your soul from your ever-regenerating body and chew it to a gruel. He sits down at the all-but-destroyed table and picks up his menu. God, she hates him. But until that beautiful day when I can be with you forever, you're going to need to eat something else. Telepora stops. She looks at me and I bounce between eyes, trying to make contact with one that doesn't stare down into my deepest inadequacies. There is human fuel here. I nod. Her mouth breaks open into a smile? Excellent. You are spared from punishment, Hendrik, if only for the moment. She sits down, but not on a chair. Dozens of her tentacles are still present throughout the entire room, spikes driven deep into the surfaces, blocking all the exits. She settles into one of the squishy appendages, looking pleased. So then, maybe we should order an appetizer? It's not that I can't believe this is happening. I have an open mind. But as far as sudden supernatural shifts to my life, I was really hoping for wizard school. Or just a plain old haunting. Some ghosts are pretty cool, right? At least with a zombie or something, I know the rules here. What are the rules with this thing? Do I throw rice on the ground to stall her? Will she attack me if I touch her with iron? I'd listen to my gut, but I can't make out anything but general foreboding. Demon! You summon demons, so that fits. But I don't know, something doesn't seem quite right about that. Maybe she's, excuse me. Oh! I can barely think, but I can at least fall back on one set of rules. I struggle to stutter out the reply. Would you like to start off with a soup or salad tonight? The man grins and gives an eager nod. Could I please get the blue cheese salad? And for my sweetie... The teleport rolls her eyes, her teeth flash as she cuts in. Hendrik, I've been on enough of these sham dates to know that ordering for your companion is rude. His face falls. But it's been ages since you've eaten any food. You're chewing on the fork right now. She gives him a glare and slowly places the silently bent cutlery back down on the table. Fine. But before he can say another word, she makes her move. I don't want your advice, though. I want the young human to choose for me. Oh no. He sighs, annoyed. But he checks himself before looking at me. I think he knows that she's putting me on the spot. I can appreciate that he's trying to look out for me. I mean, I'd appreciate it more if he could have not summoned some kind of Ethra thing during an already busy Saturday shift. Or at all. I use my throat open enough to squeak out. Tomato abyss, Caesar salad, lamb chili. This sucks. I don't want to be here. Chili? That doesn't seem to mean much of anything to her. Great. And what would you like for your entree? She slams a fist down on the table. My stomach lurches. First bring me the matter. This physical form requires fuel to sustain itself. I turn on my heel and fly out of there, an excuse to leave. If there is any kind of extra-dimensional beings looking down on me right now, I would like to take this opportunity to thank them. I rush into the kitchen. Back in the kitchen, everyone's still bustling about. Other servers are calling in their orders. The ambitious cooks are working. The slightly less ambitious cooks are cracking jokes with each other. They're as oblivious as the customers out front. I can see my manager discussing some menu changes with the head chef. Hey, does anyone else see what's going on out there? But nobody turns to look at me. Hey, I'm serious. What the hell is going on? Are they ignoring me? Do you expect me to just come back here and bring this order like nothing's wrong? I take a sarcastic tone. Yeah, we got a blue cheese and a chili for table 6. Just another usual night, right? Without warning, a tray with the order is put down on the counter next to me. But other than that, there's no hint of a glance, no guilty looks. Hey! Nobody even flinches. Fine. Looks like I'm on my own. And did I tell you how lovely your eyes are this evening? From your ever-evasive sewer pipe of compliments springs something worthwhile. I made most of them myself, but the eyes in the center of my head was my reference object. I couldn't even tell the difference. Your autonomy has gotten so much better since the last decade. It is easier when I have a fresh supply of study material. So I suppose I can remain here long enough to consume some matter. Let no sentient being claim that I do not repay my debts. Well, that's just one of the perks of the job. Teachers can bring home knowledge, cooks can bring home food, and surgeons can bring spare body parts back to their girlfriends. Oh, you're a surgeon and... oh. Okay, so those parts are coming together. I can say with relative certainty that that isn't how it works. If I ever find out this man's last name, I am never going to his hospital. I serve Talidopora her chili, trying not to get too close. Please be careful, it's very hot. Remember, sweetie, that too much heat can injure... Silence, meat garden. I gotta use that insult in real life. Meat garden. I love it. I know what to do with volatile heat sources. She flings the scalding liquid across the table and it hits Hendrik square in the chest. He rushes out to the bathroom, face red from pain. We don't serve our soups at a heat that could do permanent damage, but that still has to hurt. She closes most of her eyes and inhales a deep breath, satisfied. When she speaks again, her rough voice has a tranquil tone. Clean it up, human. This is an establishment with standards, is it not? Well, it was, I mutter. The elegant charm might be a bit altered by the sudden presence of giant tentacles. She snuggles down into her seat. This is a gift for your owners. This is a sliver of my true form. Well, it's lovely. Sorry that you didn't like the chili. Apology unnecessary, human. I enjoyed that immensely. So you're not going to be mad at me later? She sniffs the air. It smells nice as well. She dabs a little of the meat on her neck. This body has concentrated blood flow around the throat and wrist. These pulse points heat and disperse spray molecules of matter, allowing humans to perceive them with their noses. She seems quite pleased with that luxury. She wraps the scarf around herself. Now that I think about it, the clothing Hendrik brought for her is all very heavy. A maxi skirt, a thick sweater, and a blanket scarf. The way you're clutching that scarf, are you cold? You may not have my scarf. It retains my heat. I will continue to generate and retain heat, and it will belong to me, not you. I take a step back. No, that's all your heat. Fair and square? She growls. Happily? Yes, all mine. Hendrik will be procuring more matter this evening, which will continue to power this form. Physical exertion is a luxury. The caloric energy necessary to move but a digit. She lifts one of her own claws. Is precious. I've gone for thousands of years lying in wait for foolish summoners to tear open rifts and let in the good heat from your world. Telepora leans down on the table. The edges of the scarf trail into her chili. Or what's left of it. Is it selfish to be happy that she's disarmed now? I look at the still present tentacles and recalculate that statement. She at least cannot harm you with soup. And that's something? So human, how do you enjoy generating your own heat? It's good. I'd rather just turn on the heater. It's not great, really. Have you ever gotten sweaty? I like it. Physical activity is fun. Physical activity's fun. I do enjoy hunting. Actually, consumption of matter at times comes second to the thrill of pursuing a terrified creature. Well, was more into thinking about exercise, to keep in shape. She stops. Do you waste your fuel on extra heat? No, it isn't a waste, it's fun. She hisses through her jagged teeth. The human enjoys this, does she? Yes, it's nice to be able to move, isn't it? She taps her knife against her glass. Well, I suppose. Whew. And Hendrik returns. Getting along well? As well as might be expected. Still, thank you for keeping her company. We'll eat her appetizers and... She shakes her head. I'm finished with mine. He laughs. Of course, how could I forget? So then, what would you like to move on to the main course now? The next part of the meal. Ah, yes, with the larger portions. Hendrik points to her menu. So what are you thinking about? I always like steak, but I admit that I was kind of thinking about splurging on the... Hey, human des. I snap to attention. Yes, ma'am. Choose. Do it promptly and wisely, or else I will need to consume something else for my main course. She's staring me right in the eyes, and her gaze lingers on my mouth. She stares at my teeth and licks her lips. Could she eat my teeth? Well, I think you would enjoy... We have a beautiful porterhouse steak, we have live lobster. She likes a hunt, how about we give her a live lobster? Maybe? Yes. Hendrik gives a bit of a nod. That's my order too, it's been a while, and this is a special night. She looks really happy with that decision. What? At what point did humans discover the joy of consuming live creatures? Wait, she doesn't think I'll serve it to her while it's still... No, sweetie, I'm afraid that most of us are still a touch prudish about that sort of thing. But they have a tank here, so the lobster is fresh. Pfft. Nothing is as fresh as squeezing the life from a creature with your jaws. Feeling it writhe and struggle in a fruitless attempt to stave off the icy curtain of death. She's looking straight at my throat. 2 lobster dinner is coming right up. I rush away as quickly as I can. I would just give hers live. I would just put a live lobster on her plate and call it a day. I try to convince the chef to let me serve 1 lobster live. I feel downright ghoulish, but between me and the crustacean, I'm going to defend myself every time. But her reaction is the same as the last time. She prepares the dishes as usual and hands them off to me, never making eye contact or reacting to anything I say. Quit ignoring me. What is this? She lifts up the extra utensil. It's the lobster cracker. You use that to crack open the shell. This is a fair idea, but it's such a waste, Des. To use this on a deceased creature? Well, if the food is dead, it's easier to consume. She waves a claw at me. Not if you have to crack it open anyway. Hendrik is already digging the meat out of his. I like it. It's soothing to have a little tactical activity as part of your meal. He is so delusional. Tenelapora's claws slip into the lobster cracker. Meat shield, how are you employing your tool? Well, you put either end of the metal bit over, raise it up, and demonstrate. He holds the lobster cracker one leg up, leaning forward so they're close enough for her to get a good look. She holds hers up, phantoming his actions, then promptly grabbing one of his hands, wrapping the cracker around his pointer finger and gripping it tightly. Oh! His finger juts out at an odd angle and blood drips onto the torn tablecloth. She's loving every minute of that torture. She cackles and throws the metal tool at his head. Fool! I can easily employ such a simple item. Ah! He's leaning away from his injured hand, the other on his face. Right you are. You got me. He sure does look embarrassed. It's really hard to tell through the pain. I mean, this is an expression of pain on his face, right? I guess she got him? He breathes heavily, trying to get himself under control. As though to prove a point, he goes right back to eating dinner. As though nothing were wrong. So, before I go, is everything to your liking? Is the food, powering your true form enough? Silly Des. While I'm in my true form, I do not consume human fuel. This human template, my, what do you call it? Hendrik's caught mid-bite and he covers his mouth to respond. Human sona. My hunosoma, it consumes calories, inhales oxygen, excretes feces, all the same as yourself, I assume. I never expected to have a restaurant patron ask if I breathe and poop, but here we are. But my true form requires something much more deeply sustaining. She stares me down. She looks at my teeth again. She looks me in the eye. She holds that eye contact and waits. I try not to squirm, but my moxie is inadequate for this situation. She waits, and then laughs. I can breathe again. Delicious. A light dusting of fear, nothing too overwhelming. If that doesn't strike her as much fear, please let me never ever learn what does. So you eat fear then? It falls under my purview. Suffering. Sweetie's true form eats concepts. And she builds her human sonas to have quite the taste for them too. Any form of important emotion can sustain her, but she's picky. I am not. Suffering is the only thing worth eating. Eating anything else would be beneath me. It's okay, whatever you eat. I love you just the way you are. And I would like you much better with several more stab wounds to the head. This is the healthiest relationship. Anytime, sweetie. I mean, if they've been together for 400 years, I'm assuming that death doesn't really touch him then. So she technically, I guess, could torture him. Though I managed to sneak away for the next 15 minutes, I know that I'll eventually have to return. I try to strike up a conversation with the line cooks again. So, how do you guys feel about the recent tentacle invasion? Of course, nobody responds. Yeah, it's hard to really put into words, huh? No response. Dishes click. I guess the spooky atmosphere has a certain charm, but I don't think it'll catch on with the baby boomers. Conventional wisdom says that they like elegance or rustic charm. And Midwestern moms are not into dripping fluids. I mean as a general group. I don't want to assume individual taste. This gets boring quickly, so after the appropriate waiting period, I head back over. No one knows what's going on. Maybe they're just both in a different dimension and only I can see them at this point. Maybe. So thank you for dining with us tonight. I did it. I made it through the evening. I'm tempted to not even give them a check just to rush them right out the door, but I refuse to slip up now. It's been a delight getting to know the both of you. How kind of you. You know, I was planning on heading out, but you know what? I couldn't care less if I attempted, and I'm very powerful. I am capable of caring far less than most humans could in their most apathetic dreams. Let's do dessert. Son of a bitch. Okay. I look from his smiling face to Telepora's cruel one. I know how this goes. Let's make a recommendation. I grab our chocolate torte for the delightful couple. Do you feel like drinking? I sure do after dinner brandy. Fuck it, caution to the wind, banana. Yeah, it has fire. Is my professionalism slipping? It must be. What are we impregnating? Sweetie, it's a figure of speech. I don't have that function this time around. I guess I really did say fuck it. Sweetie, I think she's just tired. That's okay. I think if I want this to be a truly satisfying night for our esteemed void goddess, then she's going to enjoy this dessert. Or at least how we cook it. What is this blathering about? But I can tell I've got her hooked. We cook it tableside, with a huge flame. And there it is. I'm not so sure about this. It looks like he picked up on the pattern, too. Oh, I insist. I don't even need to write this one down. One flaming dessert for table 6. I scramble about the kitchen grabbing everything I need. Am I clear to do this? Hell no. 2 weeks is not long enough to have permission to set things on fire next to the diners. But tonight's special, isn't it? Did I just make the wrong decision, like head-on wrong decision? I wheel the cart over. Feeling a mite chatty, I take my time prepping to light it on fire. So congrats on getting out of, what do you call it, the cold place? The void. Void, God. What's it like in there? Dark, cold, mostly barren. Locked for something approaching an eternity with nothing but your own thoughts. Unless one can become creative. I do my best to make creatures to fill it, but it's a vast expanse. Literally endlessly big. But with nothing in it. Yeah, I caught part of your conversation before. You made your body, right? Indeed. When rifts become open, I am able to seize not only heat, but stray matter. I modeled the majority of my creatures after your carbon-based life forms. But modifications must be made. I'll bet. If the void doesn't have heat or any of its own matter, you'd need to make creatures that don't eat or breathe, right? Good human. I model most of them after myself. And you eat concepts. Yes. After billions and billions of years, I have evolved over 1 million species of void creatures. Nearly all of them feed, as I do, on the concept of suffering. So it's an endless, barren place with no light, no heat, where the only thing that exists? Just go around preying on each other's suffering all the time? Yes! Is it not marvelous? And some days, human does, there will be a rift large enough that it not only tiny scraps and stray humans would fall through, but your entire plane of existence. You will enjoy it. Wouldn't I, hate it? I get distracted there a bit, but I grab the rum. Can't caramelize it, right? Without a pretty flame. I mean, I don't enjoy suffering. You'd be surprised what humans can get used to. He's such a douche. I used the wrong English word. A closer translation might be resignation. You would become resigned to an existence saturated with pain. Enjoy isn't the correct term. Unless you're a disgusting cluster of mirror brain signals. Love you too, sweetie. Oh, I'm glad. He knew he was talking about her. What the hell? Ugh. I know what you're doing, Hendrik. You think if you can keep delaying me with fancy dinners, stolen body parts, gentle words, and rough sex. Can we not talk about the sex life in public, thank you? Yes, can we not talk about your sex life? She places a hand on his arm. That you can stop me. You are, as always, disgusting, but an appealing opponent. Look out! And I light it up. The flame shines in her eyes, and I can feel the heat coming off it. I should probably keeping a close eye on it to make sure it's cooking properly, but looking over at Hendrik and Telepora, they're holding hands. So simply and happily. She's gripping his hand tightly from joy. And then she jerks him across the table. Straight into the flame. Oh my god! Straight into the flaming cart. Now that burn, that's one that could cause permanent damage. Though he may be lucky that that's the worst thing that happened to him tonight. He executes a perfect stop, drop, and roll, and soon the flames are out. Oh, Hendrik. Your face. Eesh. Though he's far from unscathed. Human, this was a fantastic dinner. Bring us the statement so that we may repay you for your noble worship and gifts. I salute and wheel what remains of the upturned cart away. It's not long before I return with the bill in hand. He takes the check. He seems to do a bit of a calculation in his head, then lays down some cash. Well, this evening wasn't a complete waste of time and effort. Organ ravioli. I think I like meat garden better. Organ ravioli is kind of funny though. Hendrik looks up at her. You may have one short, friendly embrace. He jumps to his feet, arms wide open to hug her, and one of her tentacles slams into him, throwing his body across the room. It slams into the wall and ragdolls to the ground. Hug transaction complete. Oh no, did you just kill him? She heaves a sigh. Would I were so lucky. No, human, I've merely rendered him unconscious. That's good. Via severe cranial hemorrhaging. That's bad. He will sleep it off. I've ripped his limbs before, he can take it. She looks almost fond. She gets up, walks over to him, and grabs him by the foot. I suppose it's time to return to his residence. She perks up. Or I can abandon his body in a trash unit. Perhaps nobody will find him and he will be placed inside a trash compactor. As she turns to drag him away, I ask, Miss Telepora? She turns, quizzical. Human, I am departing. You've made it through this evening unscathed. You have little to no ability to comprehend how fortunate that makes you, but I suggest you make an attempt. I clear my throat. I think I'm trapped. I gesture around at the restaurant. Oh yes, I had forgotten. Your world usually has even more light, does it not? She shrugs. Well, I had no hand in this. And with that, she waves aside a tentacle and marches through the front door. Hendrik's head thuds against the ground as she walks down the staircase and out of sight. When I hear the front door close, another server bumps me in the shoulder, stepping past. They give me a dirty look and keep heading their way. Just like that, I'm back. I get moving, clearing the table, scooping up the check. I check the tip. 40%. It might not cover emotional distress, but I'll cap off the shift well. This was quite the experience. But for my own safety, I think I'm gonna skip the 2 weeks notice. I came here to learn something new. And I'd say that the goal was more than accomplished. Oh, man. Ending 4. Goodbye. I mean, I guess I did learn something. Oh, poor Hendrik. He just got abused heavily during the entire ordeal, but oof. Oh, hell. I definitely can see me playing this one again to see what the other endings look like. This one seems like a good ending? Maybe? She seemed happy with the flaming banana, and she basically harmed Hendrik enough to make her happy. But, yeah, that was exciting. So that was May I Take Your Order. Different. I do like playing a lot of the visual novels just because they're just fun to play, and there's always a nice story that goes along with them, and sometimes it's nice to take a break from getting the hell scared out of me and screaming like a little girl. We'll get into those games too. There's a lot of, like I've said before, there's a lot of demos that I'm waiting for the full game to be released, so please don't think I've forgotten about those. I do have a small list of games that I want to play that you guys have suggested, and of course, I always like hearing suggestions in the comments down below. Leave a thumbs up for this video if you did like it. If you want to see the other endings, let me know. I can look into how many endings. I thought there was 4, and I'm thinking we got the good ending, so I did really good being a server. I just don't want to have to serve multi-dimensional beings again, if that's what she is, so I had fun, you guys. If you're a returning sub to my channel, thank you so much for your support. It honestly means so much to me, and I'm forever grateful to you. And if you were new to my channel and you've made it this far, welcome. I hope you had a good time. I hope you had fun, and I hope that you will subscribe to the channel. I think last time I checked, there was 82% of the viewers on this channel were not subscribed. If you're one of them, come on, take a chance. I'd like to see your face around here, and it would mean a lot to me to have you subscribe. As always, kind of leave comments down below. Love to hear from you guys, and I like interacting with you. But until next time, guys, Please take care of yourselves, know I love you, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.